Hello guys, I am back from another video and today we're talking about deku was reincarnated into Minecraft, and this is a brand new series. If you didn't notice the thumbnail, well, this is the only one that you can find that's like a mix of anime and Minecraft. This is the only one that you can get, and don't ask don't ask where I found it. Oh god, why did I pick this in the first place? I guess it's for like luring all of you. Yes. Anyway, uh, let us start the story then. So, Izuku wakes up. Wakes up in this almost cloudy, almost angelic type place. As Izuku just says this, "Where am I?" As a figure appears. Huh, I guess you died. Actually, it's quite pathetic. As Izuku looks over and sees a man with a large beard. Almost claws. Kind of. He also has blue-ish eyes. His hair, specifically, resembles angel-like wings. In fact, they definitely look like feathers. As Izuku just says this, "Where am I?" As this man says this, "Well, it seems that you died." In quite a pathetic fashion, not gonna lie. As Izuku just says this, "What do you mean by that?" "Oh, I remember." As Izuku remembers before he came here. So, just like in canon, Izuku was bullied, but just imagine if it's like 10 times worse and Izuku's an orphan. Yeah. Izuku was bullied because he was an orphan, and not only that, he was quirkless, so it's even worse. Until one day, when Izuku was walking around through the city, as he gets attacked by the sludge villain. Izuku decides not to struggle because Izuku is already feels like his life is already over, so Izuku lets him take over his body as he dies. As Izuku just says this, "Yeah, my life was pretty trash." As this man says this, "I'm really sorry, I was just so tired at the time. Uh, so, please forgive me." And as Izuku just says this, "Why are you forgiving me for? I mean, you didn't do anything." As he says this, "Well, I am God." As Izuku just says this, "You're joking." As he just nods his head. As Izuku just says this, "Not only am I dead, I'm also in this place, talking to the person that made my life a living hell." As he says this, "Hey, at least I tried to make that hell a little bit, nicer." As Izuku just says this, "Ugh. Either way, what do you want to do with me? Bring me to heaven or something, or just bring me to hell? Either choice is pretty horrible, I guess." As he says this, "No, I'm just going to reincarnate you." As Izuku just says this, "Excuse me, what?" As, "Yes, yes, I want to reincarnate you. Apparently, that world has been pretty much in ruins for a while now. Apparently, one of my first creations, being a man, which I can't remember his name, but he caused some serious damage, and now the world is completely in chaos. So I need somebody to at least somewhat fix it." As Ezekiel just says this, "Maybe you can just make somebody else to do it, or..." As he says this, "Oh, come on, I did create you." As Ezekiel just says this, "You're the one who made my life a living hell." As he says this, uh, "I guess you're right, but still, I am the one who created you." As Ezekiel just says this, "Shut up. I just want to go to either heaven or hell." And as he says this, "Do not question me, boy. I am God, and you dare speak to me like that." As Ezekiel just says this, "No, I do speak like that to people, especially those that ruin my fucking life." as he says this. Here, how about this? When you get reincarnated there, you'll gain so much power, you can do whatever the hell you want. Like, you can even create your own kingdom if you want to, or anything, just as long as you fix that place. Okay? As Izuku just says this. Hmm. As Izuku thinks. As God says this. So, do we have a deal? As Izuku shakes his hand. As he says this. Great! Now, you'll be teleported there in 3, 2, as Izuku just says this. Wait! As Izuku gets teleported into the Minecraft world. So, Izuku lands in a little area of a forest. Specifically, a woodland forest, which, well, let's just say Izuku's definitely gonna have a bad time here first. So, wait for a second. So, Izuku gets hit in the head by a branch, as Izuku just says this. Dow, that hurt. Seriously, God? As nobody's there. As Izuku just says this. Well, frick. Guess I'll start doing whatever the hell I want then. So, Izuku looks at a tree as Izuku just says this. He did say that I'm overpowered, so as Izuku punches the tree, as the tree just, turns into blocks of wood. Like literal planks of wood. As Izuku just says this. So I'm that overpowered. Huh. So, Izuku, after getting these, wood, Izuku looks at his inventory. Izuku checks it out as Izuku saw that it's like a video game. As Izuku just says this. Huh. It reminds me of that video game. I can't remember the name. I think it was called, Craft Block or something? I can't remember. I did like that game, though. As Izuku starts putting these 4 blocks of wood and creating a crafting table. Or a crafting bench. Or whatever the hell you want to call it. As Izuku started looking around to try and find some materials. Izuku gets more trees and more wood. Thanks to that, Izuku creates a pickaxe. Izuku starts chopping down some... Not really chopping down, more like, getting more stone, or at least getting stone, so he can make a iron pickaxe and also some, weapons, specifically an axe and a sword, as Izuku dual wields them for now. As Izuku starts moving away, grabbing his crafting bench, and starts moving on. So, he gets through the woodland forest, looking around, as Izuku sees a camp with a large tower. Izuku sees some gray-skinned people wearing almost bandit-type clothing. One seems to be a black-coated man with a large, gigantic axe. The other seems to be a priest, or a priestess in this case because it's a girl. She says this. So, do you have any ideas of where this village is? As this other man says this, with a large crossbow. I already know where it is. It's currently in the snow biome, I think. Here's the map. As he throws it to that girl, as she says this. Huh, so it's nearby. Great. Now we're gonna pillage it and bring it to our boss. As he says this, being the, large axe. Heh, this will be fun. Hey, bring in the Ravager. As the Ravager, being this gigantic creature with the similar face of those people, but except more monstrous, and looks like a mix of a elephant, a bull, and a rhino. Izuku was terrified after seeing that thing, as Izuku thinks, maybe I should try and be quiet. Maybe try not to, get spotted. As Izuku moves through the forest quietly. As Izuku looks around as Izuku sees something in the distance. It's an arrow. As Izuku dodges it, as Izuku sees skeletons. Skeletons that were wielding bows and arrows. As Izuku sees something over there. It seems to be zombies. Zombies with, well, some of them have weapons. And some of them had weapons that are glowing. As Izuku says this. Seriously? As Izuku looks over, as Izuku sees spiders coming out of the forest, specifically coming out of the, trees. As Izuku just says this. Are you kidding me? As Izuku starts running away, as they hear the sound of screaming, being those bandits. As they say this. So I'm guessing somebody spotted us. This will be fun. As Izuku starts running away from those, creatures. Izuku started running and running, asking, Jesus Christ, what is this world? And why the hell, God, bring me here? As God just sneezes as he says this. Is somebody talking to me? Whatever. Probably just the angels. As Izuku was running, Izuku goes into a nearby cave as Izuku just causes a little not really avalanche, more like an avalanche of stone, where the monsters couldn't come in. As Izuku just says this. Huh, thank God. Now, maybe I should make a torch or something. As Izuku puts up his, crafting bench and starts getting some rocks specifically so they can make a fire while using the wood as a torch or a torch stick. After Izuku does that, Izuku, grabs the torch as he starts moving on. So, Izuku around, seeing the cave filled with several different types of ores, saw something that caught his interest. Iron. Izuku thought of it to use it. Using the rest of his coal that he gotten from that, little encounter, Izuku starts using coal to create a furnace. As Izuku puts the iron in the furnace, causing some big light. Basically, it causes the cave to go glow brighter. Thankfully, Izuku decides to make this his so-called base for now. As Izuku just sits around, just looking at the ceiling, as Izuku just says this. I'm so hungry. What should I eat? As Izuku looks over and sees, something caught his eye. Izuku sees this pig-like creature. It definitely looks like a pig, but except more humanoid and seems to be a zombie. It wields a golden sword. As Izuku just says this. I'm guessing, guess I'll eat this for now. As Izuku just goes onto the, assassin side and jumps down and stabs the head of this pig creature that looks like a zombie. As Izuku loots his, weapon and sees, his flesh. Izuku starts coughing, cutting the flesh from the bone and starts bringing it to the furnace, where Izuku starts cooking it. Izuku, after finishing cooking it, Izuku just says this. Well, I guess it's pork. As Izuku starts chowing down, as Izuku just says this. Ugh, it tastes so bad. It tastes like rubber, but it's still food. So, after a while of eating it, Izuku starts moving on, getting all of his stuff, and starts leaving. Using the torch, Izuku started going through the cave. As Izuku looks over and sees something. It looks like a cage with a flame. As Izuku goes closer to it, the cage starts spawning these creatures. These creatures being those skeletons with bows and arrows again. Izuku dodging the arrows and starts slashing at all of these, skeletons. these skeletons get destroyed as Izuku decides to, destroy this, thing. Using his, pickaxe, which is still made out of stone, breaking the thing as Izuku started lighting up the place with some of his torches. So, after getting the weapon, not really weapons, more like the arrows of the skeletons, Izuku sees a chest. As Izuku just says this, nice. As Izuku opens the chest, Izuku sees some interesting stuff. First, there was a saddle. The other is a weird looking book. Izuku looks into the book as it's in a different language. As Izuku just says this, Ugh, at least give me some understanding of this language. As God just sneezes again as he says this. Probably just another angel. As Izuku just says this. Guess I'll have to learn it myself. As Izuku looks into his inventory, as Izuku sees a book that he never saw before. As it's a book about, the language of the world. Apparently, the language of the world is a bit different than normal Japanese or English. So after translating it, it turns out this book is Fire Aspect, which Izuku learns. So Izuku decides to keep it for now, as Izuku finds some other items. Like for an example, in the chest, there was some pieces of iron and gold. As Izuku grabs all of the items, including the rest of these bones that he gotten from the skeletons, Izuku started leaving. So, while in the cave, Izuku sees a large, opening. And this opening, Izuku sees light. As Izuku says this, maybe it's the end of the cave. As Izuku runs, as Izuku realizes that it's a ravine. Or a cave that's next to a ravine. As Izuku just says this. Damn it! As Izuku started falling. As when Izuku's about to, get crushed under, get, splatted, Izuku jumps, not really jumps, more moves, to the side, as Izuku falls into the water. Specifically, the water came from a large river. As Izuku just says this. God damn it, God. Can you at least give me some good luck? As Izuku just started swimming. Even though Izuku never swam, Izuku was surprisingly good at it. As Izuku thought it's probably just one of God's gifts. So, after getting out of the water, Izuku was dripping wet, still wearing the clothes that he wore back when he was still in the, normal My Hero Academia verse. And so, Izuku started trekking on, realizing that Izuku's in a large field, mostly plain. Nothing else, there's just nothing but grass. And some animals. Wait for a second. So, Izuku started trekking on, as Izuku sees some chickens, which Izuku started, get a rumbling in his tummy, or stomach. As Izuku just says this, I guess it's mealtime then. As Izuku tries to kill these, chickens, but they were too fast. As Izuku keeps trying to get them, but they were too fast. Well, or at least, let me tell you a story during my time when I was still playing Minecraft. I used to play Minecraft and I hated, hunting down chicken because they were too fast, so just imagine Izuku struggling like that. So that was a pretty short story. So, after Izuku kills these chickens, Izuku starts, putting them in his furnace and started waiting. While Izuku was waiting, Izuku decides to make a house. A simple wooden cabin with a... wait for a second. With a bed nearby, which Izuku gotten after killing some sheep. So, after Izuku does that, Izuku started putting his bed nearby, maybe like nearby the window, which is made out of like a fence, because there was no like glass, aka there's no like sand, so Izuku can't make glass at all. So after Izuku does that, Izuku puts up some torches so mobs wouldn't spawn, as Izuku goes onto his bed and says this. At least this life is ain't that bad. I mean, there is no shitty Bakugo here. As Bakugo was in Izuku's funeral, because why not? As Bakugo just sneezes and says this. Who the hell made me? Ugh, whatever. So, Izuku is there sleeping, or at least like resting on the bed. As Izuku thinks, so, what would happen if I just stayed in that world? Or decided to just heaven? Don't think like that. It's probably just hellish. No pun intended there. So, after Izuku contemplates, Izuku decides to get some sleep because it's almost nighttime. And so, Izuku goes to sleep. So, before you leave, guys, I want all of you to pick a ship for Izuku. I mean, I don't really have an idea for the ship, but you can just pick from the thumbnail. Oh god. Okay, you can just pick from each of these girls from like the thumbnail. Just give them a name or something like that and just comment it down below. Just comment down below, okay? Good. So, I hope you liked the video. Comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye.